Your life is not shaped by luck, but by what you relentlessly focus on. Every thought you repeat is a command to the universe, a signal that builds your future in silence. Most people scatter their attention and then blame destiny, but you are not most people. Today, you take back the steering wheel of your mind and discover the law that can rewrite your entire life: the power of focus. Your dominant thoughts shape your reality, not by accident, not by coincidence, but by an unbreakable law that governs every human life. Your life is a mirror reflecting what you consistently think, believe, speak, and expect. Not the temporary emotions that pass through you, not the occasional wishes that drift in and out of your mind, but the thoughts that take root and live inside you day after day. Most people underestimate this truth. They think thoughts are harmless, invisible, without weight or consequence. But thoughts are builders, they are architects. They are the silent engineers constructing the world you eventually walk into. Every belief you repeat becomes a blueprint. Every expectation becomes a seed. Every mental image becomes a direction your life quietly moves toward, even when you are not noticing it. You cannot think defeat and live in victory. You cannot dwell on fear and walk in courage. You cannot speak lack and expect abundance. Your inner world becomes your outer world with mathematical precision. This is why some people seem to rise effortlessly while others stay stuck, not because one is chosen and the other is forgotten, but because one is consistent in thought while the other is careless. The universe does not respond to occasional desire. It responds to dominant thought. What you think most often becomes what you attract, what you notice, what you pursue, what you expect, and eventually what you receive. Look at your life right now. Every result, every pattern, every struggle, every breakthrough, trace them back and you will find they began as thoughts. Some were planted by you. Some were planted by people around you. Some were planted by pain, some by hope. But all of them grew because you repeatedly fed them with your attention. If your beliefs are weak, your actions will be weak. If your beliefs are powerful, your actions will reflect that power. Your mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is rehearsed. Whatever you focus on with emotion becomes your internal reality, and your internal reality becomes the filter through which you experience the world. This is why temporary emotions do not shape your destiny. Anyone can feel motivated for an hour or discouraged for a moment. Emotions come and go like passing weather. But your consistent thoughts, the ones you entertain when you are alone, anxious, hopeful, or dreaming, those are the ones that build the foundation of your life. When you repeatedly think you are capable, your mind creates pathways toward capability. When you repeatedly think you are stuck, your mind shuts down opportunities before you even notice them. When you repeatedly expect failure, you unconsciously move in ways that bring that expectation to life. What you believe becomes a prophecy you fulfill. You must begin to pay attention to the mental conversation you carry throughout the day. What do you say to yourself? What do you imagine? What do you fear? What do you expect when you wake up, when you walk into a room, when you face challenges, when you dream about the future? These inner dialogues are not harmless. They are instructions. They shape your decisions. They influence your confidence. They determine your behavior. And slowly, without you realizing it, they sculpt your reality. Your life responds to the tone of your thoughts. A mind dominated by possibility sees opportunities everywhere. A mind dominated by limitation sees obstacles even where none exist. Two people can stand in the same situation. One will find a path, the other will find an excuse. The only difference is the lens of thought. If you want to change your life, you must first change the thoughts you allow to dominate your mind. Not once, not occasionally, but daily, consistently, relentlessly. You must choose thoughts that support your future, thoughts that empower your action, thoughts that align with the life you want to create. Because when you make your dominant thoughts match your desired life, your reality has no choice but to rise to meet them. Focus is a creative force, not a passive habit. It is not something you simply have or don't have. It is not a talent reserved for the gifted, nor a trait that appears only when life becomes easy. Focus is power. It is the invisible energy that shapes your destiny long before the results show up. It is the intention behind your actions, the clarity behind your choices, the fire behind your persistence. When you understand that focus is creation, you realize that every moment of attention you give to something is an act of building. Building a belief, building a pattern, building a future. Nothing in your life is random. It all originates from what you choose to give your mind to. Your mind is not a silent container that passively absorbs life as it comes. Your mind is an active transmitter, constantly sending out signals, instructions, and frequencies to the universe. Thoughts backed by focus become commands. Focus backed by emotion becomes a force. And whatever you focus on repeatedly, whether you want it or not, gets amplified. This is why people who constantly think about problems seem to attract more problems, while people who constantly focus on possibilities seem to unlock opportunities. Life is not rewarding one person and punishing another. Life is simply echoing the signals sent from the mind. The universe amplifies what you amplify internally. When you focus on fear, your mind becomes flooded with reasons to stay small. When you focus on doubt, your actions shrink. When you focus on possibilities, your awareness expands, and you begin to notice doors that were always there but invisible to an unfocused mind. Focus determines what you see, what you ignore, what you chase, and what you repel. It filters your perception and shapes your interpretation of everything around you. Two people can be given the same opportunity. One will recognize it instantly because his focus is tuned to growth, while the other will overlook it because his focus is tuned to limitation. The universe does not operate on wishful thinking, it operates on attention. It does not care what you say you want. It responds to what you repeatedly return to in your mind. Focus is the language through which you communicate your true priorities to life. When you repeatedly think about something, speak about it, visualize it, and emotionally engage with it, you amplify it, and the universe mirrors that amplification back in the form of circumstances, ideas, people, and situations. This is why unfocused people feel stuck. They scatter their attention across too many things, and their life becomes equally scattered. But the focused individual channels his mental energy like a beam of light, cutting through confusion, resistance, and randomness. Consider how a magnifying glass can turn sunlight into fire. The sun itself is powerful, but unfocused light cannot burn. The same is true for your mind. You may have dreams, talent, passion, and ambition, but if your attention is diffused across distractions, negativity, and conflicting desires, your energy loses its power. But when you hold your focus steady, day after day, thought after thought, you ignite a fire in your life that nothing can extinguish. Focus transforms desire into direction, direction into discipline, and discipline into destiny. The mind is always transmitting. Even in silence, even in doubt, even in confusion, you are sending signals. The key is to take control of what you are broadcasting. If you constantly focus on scarcity, the universe amplifies experiences that reflect that scarcity. If you focus on abundance, the universe begins aligning resources to support that mindset. If you focus on problems, you attract more problems. If you focus on solutions, ideas suddenly appear. Your external world arranges itself to match your internal frequency. Every great achievement, invention, transformation, or breakthrough in human history came from someone who learned to direct the creative force of focus. They were not necessarily the smartest or the strongest, but they were the most tuned in. They took control of their mind and aimed their attention like a weapon, like a tool, like a compass pointing only toward one outcome. That is what you must learn to do. Remove the noise, refuse the distractions, decide what deserves your energy and what does not. Because focus is not just a mental skill, it is a spiritual discipline. It is the art of choosing what grows in your life and what dies. And when you choose to focus on the future you want, the universe has no choice but to amplify it until it becomes real. Attention is energy, and most people waste it without even realizing they're giving away the very force that could transform their entire life. Your attention is not just awareness. It is the fuel that powers your thoughts, your decisions, your habits, and ultimately your destiny. Wherever your attention goes, your life follows. Most people don't fail because they are incapable. They fail because their attention is scattered across meaningless distractions that produce nothing. They spend their days leaking energy, mentally exhausted, not from building anything valuable, but from feeding things that drain their spirit. Attention is the currency of creation, and yet people throw it away as if it has no value. They do not guard it, they do not direct it, and they do not understand that every moment of attention is shaping the person they are becoming. Distractions are the silent thieves of greatness. They arrive disguised as entertainment. Notifications, trends, and noise. At first, they seem harmless, just a moment here, a scroll there, but each moment costs you focus, and each drop of focus weakens your ability to build a powerful future. You cannot pour your energy into every direction and expect to move forward. You cannot give your attention to meaningless things and still hope to create meaningful results. Every distraction you indulge in steals a little more of the energy that was meant for your goals. Most people don't notice this theft because it happens slowly. They wake up, check their phone, compare their life to others, engage in gossip, consume negativity, and then wonder why they feel drained, unmotivated, and stuck. Their energy isn't gone. It has simply been scattered. Gossip is another form of mental poison. When you engage in conversations that tear others down, you are lowering your frequency and feeding your mind with the lowest form of expression. Gossip gives you nothing. It grows nothing. It builds nothing. It only distracts you from your own journey by focusing your energy on someone else's life. While you waste attention on meaningless talk, your dreams wait untouched. While you stay busy discussing others, your goals stand still. You cannot create a powerful life while feeding on weak conversations. Successful people do not gossip because they understand that attention is nourishment, and they choose to nourish their vision, not other people's mistakes. Negativity drains you even faster. Your mind is wired to amplify whatever you repeatedly expose it to. When you focus on negativity, the news, complaints, fears, failures, disappointments, your mind becomes conditioned to expect more of the same. Negativity is not just a mood, it is a magnet that attracts more negative experiences. It weakens your willpower, dims your hope, and steals your ability to act boldly. A negative mindset cannot produce a positive life. Every moment spent dwelling on what is wrong is a moment stolen from what you could be building. Energy spent on fear cannot be used for creation. Energy spent on anger cannot be used for peace. Energy spent on problems cannot be used for solutions. You must decide where your attention goes, because your energy follows immediately behind it. Comparison is one of the most destructive wastes of attention. When you constantly measure your life against others, you drain your confidence, sabotage your progress, and blind yourself to your own growth. Comparison steals joy, focus, motivation, and gratitude. It tells you that you are behind, unworthy, or not enough, even when you are exactly where you need to be. Instead of using your energy to improve yourself, you waste it envying others. Instead of building your own path, you lose time watching someone else walk theirs. Comparison does nothing but divide your attention and weaken your purpose. You cannot rise while looking sideways. You cannot grow while focusing on someone else's chapter. Your journey requires your full focus, not fragments of it. Most people never unlock their full potential because they never learn to guard their attention. They treat their energy as abundant when it is actually limited. Every day, you wake up with a finite supply of mental power. You can use it to build your future or waste it feeding distractions, gossip, negativity, and comparison. The choice is always yours, and the consequences are always real. The person who becomes unstoppable is not the one with the most talent, but the one who directs their attention like a weapon. Sharp, controlled, deliberate. When you stop letting the world steal your energy, you reclaim the power to shape your life. And when your attention finally aligns with your purpose, nothing can stop what you are building. Clarity creates alignment, and alignment is what turns ordinary effort into unstoppable momentum. When you know exactly what you want, when your focus becomes crystal clear, everything inside you begins to organize itself around that vision. Your thoughts stop wandering. Your emotions become calmer. Your decisions become sharper. Your energy becomes more deliberate. Clarity is not just knowing your goal, it is knowing your path, your purpose, your standards, and your direction so well that doubt loses its power. Without clarity, the mind scatters. With clarity, the mind unifies. And a unified mind can achieve what a confused mind never will. Most people struggle not because they lack ability, but because they lack direction. They wake up each day reacting to circumstances instead of creating them. They chase 5 different goals at once, follow 10 different ideas, and end their days feeling exhausted but not fulfilled. This is the cost of a blurry vision. When you are unclear, your actions conflict with each other. One moment you move forward, the next you sabotage yourself. One day you are motivated, the next you are lost. Without clarity, effort becomes diluted, and diluted effort produces diluted results. But when your focus becomes crystal clear, everything begins to align. Your mind stops entertaining unnecessary thoughts. Your decisions become guided by purpose instead of impulse. You stop wasting time on things that do not matter. You begin saying no with confidence because you finally understand what deserves your yes. Clarity simplifies life. It eliminates noise. It removes confusion. Suddenly, the path that once looked complicated becomes straightforward because you finally know what you are walking toward. Clarity also gives your energy a direction. Instead of being scattered across distractions, it becomes concentrated like a laser. And concentrated energy is powerful. Just as a laser can cut through steel while diffused light does nothing, a focused life cuts through obstacles while a distracted life stays stuck in place. When you have clarity, you stop second-guessing yourself. You stop questioning your worth. You stop hesitating. You move with certainty because you are no longer wondering, what should I do? You already know. Your emotions align with your clarity as well. Doubt begins to fade because clarity brings confidence. Anxiety decreases because clarity brings order. Fear weakens because clarity brings intention. You start trusting yourself more. You stop comparing yourself to others because your focus is internal, not external. You feel grounded because you finally understand what you are building and why you are building it. Clarity also transforms your habits. When your vision is clear, your discipline strengthens. You no longer rely on motivation, you rely on purpose. You stop getting distracted by minor setbacks because you know exactly where you're headed. Your habits begin to serve your future instead of sabotaging it. You wake up with intention. You use your time differently. You choose your environment differently. You surround yourself with people who support your path instead of draining your energy. Even the universe responds differently when you gain clarity. New opportunities begin to appear, not because they weren't there before, but because you were blind to them when your focus was scattered. Clarity tunes your awareness. It helps you recognize the right choices and filter out the wrong ones. It aligns your inner world so that your outer world can begin to match it. The truth is, clarity is not a luxury. It is a requirement for transformation. You cannot build a powerful life with a foggy mind. You cannot reach your potential if you are unsure of your direction. Every meaningful achievement begins with a clear picture in the mind long before it becomes a reality. When your focus becomes crystal clear, your thoughts, your decisions, and your energy all move in one powerful direction. And when every part of you is aligned toward one purpose, success becomes inevitable. Consistency turns focus into reality, because focus without repetition is nothing more than a fleeting wish. Every dream, every goal, every transformation demands sustained intention. The universe does not respond to occasional effort or bursts of excitement that last for a day or a week. It responds to the energy you return to again and again, long after the motivation fades, long after the excitement disappears, long after the initial spark has burned out. Consistency is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. It is the quiet, unglamorous force that takes focused thoughts and turns them into physical outcomes. Without it, even the strongest vision dissolves into nothing. Most people mistake motivation for progress. They feel inspired, make a plan, take action for a short period of time, and then stop when reality becomes uncomfortable. They assume that passion alone is enough to build success. But passion is inconsistent, motivation is unstable, excitement fades. What remains, what carries you through doubt, boredom, setbacks, and silence, is consistency. You do not become great occasionally. You become great daily through repeated focus, repeated effort, repeated commitment to the path you chose. Consistency is powerful because it trains your mind, molds your habits, and sets new standards. When you do something repeatedly, your subconscious begins to accept it as identity. That is why consistent focus changes your life. It rewires the internal blueprint that shapes your decisions and influences your path. The universe does not align with what you want, it aligns with what you consistently pursue. A person who takes small daily steps will always surpass the person who takes giant steps once in a while. Small effort multiplied consistently becomes momentum, and momentum becomes transformation. This is why sustained intention is so important. When you hold your focus steady over time, the universe responds by rearranging circumstances to match your persistence. The right people appear, the right opportunities show up, the right ideas emerge, not because of luck, but because your consistent focus acts like a magnetic field, pulling everything you need towards you. Success is less about intensity and more about loyalty. Loyalty to your goal, even when progress is slow. Loyalty to your vision, even when results are invisible. Loyalty to your purpose, even when no one is watching. Temporary motivation cannot survive obstacles, but consistency can. When adversity hits, most people quit. When results delay, most people stop trying. When the journey gets quiet, most people lose interest. But those who stay consistent, those who keep showing up, unlock a force that others never experience. They step into a power that is reserved only for the disciplined. The universe tests commitment, not enthusiasm. It rewards the one who persists after failure, who continues after rejection, who chooses discipline over excuses. Every day you stay consistent, you send a message to life: I am serious. And when life knows you are serious, it opens doors. Consistency also builds trust within yourself. Each time you keep a promise to your vision, you strengthen your confidence. Each time you follow through despite distractions, you strengthen your identity. Each time you stay aligned with your intention, you teach your mind that you are the kind of person who finishes what you start. This inner trust becomes fuel. It becomes certainty. It becomes the foundation on which everything else is built. The universe does not respond to the person who works hard. Sometimes it responds to the person who shows up again and again with unwavering focus. It responds to the person who holds the vision steady even when progress is slow. It responds to the person who chooses consistency over comfort. Your dream is not built in a single day. It is built in the repetition of days. And if you commit to that repetition, if you keep your focus alive long enough, the universe eventually bends to the force of your consistency. You become whatever you repeatedly focus on, because your mind is always shaping you in the direction of your dominant attention. Every thought you entertain, every image you visualize, every belief you rehearse becomes a part of your internal wiring. You are constantly becoming, constantly forming, constantly evolving, and the blueprint you follow is the one created by your repeated focus. This is why people with strong visions rise even from impossible situations, while others with equal talent stay stagnant. One is shaping themselves intentionally, the other accidentally. You cannot think small and live big. You cannot entertain doubt and walk with confidence. You cannot focus on limitations and expect freedom. You don't become what you occasionally dream about. You become what you repeatedly return to, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Your outcomes are not shaped by luck, nor by random chance. They are shaped by the thoughts you feed daily. Think of your mind as a fertile field. Whatever you plant grows. If you plant fear, you grow hesitation. If you plant doubt, you grow insecurity. If you plant excuses, you grow stagnation. But if you plant focus, clarity, belief, and discipline, you grow a life that reflects those qualities. Your mind does not choose for you. It builds whatever you instruct it to build through your repeated focus. This is why so many people feel trapped. They keep feeding the mind with thoughts that work against them. They rehearse failure, imagine worst-case scenarios, replay past pain, and then wonder why their life does not move forward. Their thoughts have become a prison of their own creation. But when you choose your focus consciously, everything changes. When you choose to think thoughts that support your future, instead of thoughts that sabotage it, you begin rewriting the script of your life. When you choose to hold a vision of who you want to become, your actions begin to align with that identity. When you choose to focus on solutions instead of problems, your awareness expands and new possibilities appear. When you choose to believe you are capable, your behavior starts reflecting capability. Focus literally trains your brain to become the version of you that you envision most often. This is why discipline is essential. Without discipline, focus collapses. Without discipline, your mind drifts back into old patterns and familiar doubts. Discipline keeps the lens sharp. Discipline protects the vision from distraction. Discipline holds your intentions steady when emotions try to pull you off track. Daily discipline, whether small or large, creates the momentum that transforms your repeated focus into real-world results. It's not the grand gestures that define your destiny. It's the consistent choices you make when no one is watching. The life you are living today is the echo of the thoughts you repeated yesterday. And the life you will live tomorrow depends on the thoughts you choose to repeat today. You cannot think one way and live another. Your outcomes are always in harmony with your inner world. If you repeatedly tell yourself a story of power, growth, courage, and possibility, your mind will shape your actions to match that story. But if you repeatedly focus on excuses, fears, limitations, and comparisons, your life will bend under the weight of those thoughts. What you focus on becomes who you are. Focus long enough on becoming stronger, and strength begins to show up in your choices. Focus long enough on self-respect, and your standards rise. Focus long enough on your vision, and opportunities begin to align with it. The world does not respond to what you say you want. It responds to the identity you build through repeated focus. You are always becoming clearer, becoming weaker, becoming stronger, becoming distracted, or becoming unstoppable. The direction is determined by what you feed your mind every day. Everything comes down to one truth. Your life is created from the inside out. Not by luck, not by timing, not by chance, but by the thoughts you entertain, the focus you protect, the vision you hold, and the discipline you practice every single day. You are never powerless. You are never stuck. You are constantly shaping your future with every moment of attention you invest. If your mind is scattered, your life will be scattered. But if your mind is focused, your life will rise to meet that focus. The universe is not responding to your wishes. It's responding to your consistency. It's responding to your emotional frequency. It's responding to what you repeatedly think, believe, and expect. Every day you choose what you become. Every day you decide whether you'll feed your excuses or feed your purpose. And every day, the law of focus is shaping your destiny whether you realize it or not. So choose intentionally. Think deliberately. Protect your attention like the treasure it is. Focus on the person you want to become until that version of you becomes unavoidable. Focus on your vision until the universe has no choice but to align with it. Let your habits reflect your hunger. Let your consistency declare your commitment. Let your daily focus build the life you were always meant to live. Because the truth is simple. Your focus is your future. Your attention is your power. And whatever you hold in your mind with clarity, discipline, and unwavering belief will eventually become your reality.